I want to thank you for being here and thank you for sharing this time with us. And hopefully everybody else, especially me, can learn something from you along the way.
Well, I don't know what you can learn from it, but I've been around a long time, and I like you, love country music, and I started out with that dream of just being a songwriter and a singer, and wanted to be on the Grand Ole Opry, wanted to travel the world. But as you go along, you learn new things as you go, and then you think, well, I can make something more out of that. I can do this, I can do that. So I just always left myself open to kind of work in an open, honest way as best as I could, and I just loved doing it, and it just seemed to fall natural for me. It's just a way of life with us, as you well know, and all those things just seem to fall into their proper place.
Well, they fell into place really well. I mean, you've had such a fantastic career. You know, when we started off talking about movies, and that's something I've done a little bit of, and I thought maybe that would be a good place to start. What was the impetus, or what influenced you to want to start acting? Was it the script? Was it just the itch to want to try it? Like you said, expand your horizons and just always open to try something?
Yeah, it was a lot of that. I had been asked a lot of times to be in the movies, and I didn't think I was quite ready yet. And I also thought, well, if the right thing came along, I might be willing to do it, because I was still building my music career at the time. And then when 9 to 5 came along, had Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin. They were both so hot at the time, and I thought, well, if there's any time to start, this would be now, because if it's a big hit, then I can share in the glory of it, and if it's a failure, I can blame it all on them, and I'll walk away free. But actually, I thought it was a good script, and I knew that at that time it would be a wonderful thing for women and for the workplace. But my main deal with Jane, I said, I would be happy to be in it, providing I get to write the theme song. My business mind started working also. I thought, I got to make this worth my while, not just to be in a movie with, someone else. So that was part of my deal, that I would write and sing the theme song. So that's what I did, and it turned out to be a wonderful thing. It was my first movie. I'd never even seen a movie made, really, at that time. So, but I had good people. Dabney Coleman was great to help me out, and Jane was very generous, and Lily, with where to hit your marks and what to do, what not to do. So it actually turned out to be a very fun and rewarding and successful project.
The hardest thing, I think, for a singer to come into a movie and do is make the audience forget about their persona as a singer. And boy, and you have such a persona about you, and I think that's what puts you head and shoulders above any singer that wants to go do movies. And the success that you have and how good you are at it is that nobody thinks about Dolly Parton anymore. They think about your character, and you have such a big persona that you have to be extra good when you go in there and do that, and when you act, and you sell it so well, and nobody ever, right off the bat, you're into your character, and you're not looking at Dolly Parton anymore, and that's an incredible thing to do. It's a hard thing to do.
It is, but by the same token, if you look real close, I only take parts that is pretty close to my own personality. I have never yet done one of those scenes that was that far-fetched. Even when I did, like, Still Magnolias, I played a beautician. If I hadn't made it in the music business, I would have been a beautician. So I understood that. I've always done my own hair. I used to do my mama's hair, my sister's hair. So every part I take, I have to be able to do that. And when I read that part for 9 to 5, it was a girl from Texas, and she was so much like me anyway. So that was not that far-fetched. So even the best little whorehouse in Texas, although I made a better whore than I did a secretary, in 9 to 5, but it was still, it was parts of my personality that I could relate to, all that God and the showing my boobs and all that. So it was, so I always take things that I think I can pull off.
I mean, did you have? You're so confident, and you know your path, and you're so good at making decisions about what's right for Dolly. Have you ever had decisions where you second guessed yourself? You ever had a decision where you think maybe I shouldn't have done that, or that didn't work out the way I wanted it to work out?
Well, I've tried to make everything a positive. There have been times where I have, I guess, failed myself in some ways. I've never felt that if I truly followed my own gut, my own feelings, everything usually works out fine because I know what I'm dealing with and how to work it. But sometimes you get involved, and I'm sure you know this, being in this business, sometimes you get involved with other people that think they know best, and they try to convince you that this is the right way to go. And it's only when I have allowed someone else to steer me wrong. I never did it, though, not knowing that it wasn't right. I've sometimes done things to try to keep peace or to please somebody else or let them know I have trust and confidence in them, even when I know better than to do it. So the only times that I've ever done things that didn't work out is when I've not followed my own gut, my own instinct.
You ever think that maybe I'm giving too much of myself sometimes?
I feel honored, really, that God has used me like this in my life. And there's a scripture in the Bible that says, to whom much is given, much is required.
One of my favorites.
And I always think about that when I think about griping about something, that's that I'm doing, or somebody I feel like, oh, they're just using me now, or they're wearing me out with this. I always think about what it is I'm doing. And I think if I'm still doing it for the good, to glorify God and to uplift people, then there's never too much. So I never think of it in those terms because I'm a big girl. If it gets too much, I just say, stop. I'm going to the old mountain home and I'm staying up there. So at least I have, at this point in my life and in my career, I only do what I feel led to do. I mean, sometimes you have to do more than you thought you was going to do, or more than you really wanted to do at that time. But it's not. But the subject itself, or the reasons that you're doing it, always stands on its own. So I never do anything that I don't feel right about doing. And after I've done it, I'm glad that I did it. So, like I say, I just think I'm just whining if I want to gripe about it.
I've had a little bit of experience with this, with the cologne side of things. But I want to know is when can everybody smell like Dolly?
Well, everybody can smell like me on the 28th of this month. I hope everybody wants to smell it because it smells heavenly. It's called Scent from Above, and that's I hope everybody feels blessed when they wear it because I'm really proud of it. And I wanted it to smell like, me, because people follow me around and say, what are you wearing? So it's a combination of things that, that I've put together through the years. So hopefully people are going to, enjoy it. But anyway, I'd love to sing with you some of these days, but I really admire you. I just think you're wonderful. I love your music. I love your acting. And you're doing a good job on your podcast, too.
Oh, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Tim. I love you.
Love you, too. Have a great day, Dolly.